Heyo, welcome to Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm your host, Drusilla and Adeline. Welcome to another week of Bloodhouse. Anyway,
what's up?
Not much. I'm having a nice cozy weekend at the new house. Ivory and I got up early. We went to Horror Vibes Coffee out in North Hollywood since it's super close to us now. I got a Crystal Lake chai latte. All their drinks are like, horror movie themed, and I don't drink coffee. So it's Camp Crystal Lake themed, and it's like an spiced apple chai latte with like cinnamon and like foam.
Autumn. The taste of autumn.
It's really delicious. I'm like already fully set into like transitioning into spooky season. I know Midsummer Scream is happening right now. Like it's where the like goth and horror communities in LA have like fully decided summer is over. It's Halloween time. And it makes me feel really happy. I just hung a shit ton of art up in my house after like spending weeks and weeks and weeks getting everything together and being bogged down with work and stuff. Finally having the time to like hang up my myriad of posters and paintings and stuff like that around the house is super, super, super exciting. What about you, Josh? What's going on?
I just had a screening of my second short film in Los Angeles this past week.
Oh my God, you did!
Which was so good. There was like 100 people there, and it was just very gratifying because this film like didn't get into any festivals really. And to be fair, it is like almost 20 minutes long, and that's why it didn't get into any shorts programming. And it's also hard because it's not really a horror movie. It's like kind of a gothic romance, and so it's like a little bit hard to program. My friends at Salem Horror Fest, shout out to you for programming it. But so it just hasn't gotten a lot of love. And then it got a lot of love this week, finally, when I got to screen it in front of a big audience. I had like probably 20 people add me on Instagram that I didn't know who were like, oh my God, your film is so beautiful.
Holy shit.
The writer, John August, who I don't know, was there, who's the host of Script Notes, which is like the screenwriting podcast, was there, I guess. And he posted an Instagram post about it. It's like, this was so sweet and lovely. And
holy
surprising.
Shit.
Yeah, it was like such a major thing for me. So I'm like, finally, this film gets some love.
That's great.
I feel like it's like my little misunderstood baby. So compared to my first film, which is like more accessible and normal and like got into all the horror film festivals. So it just felt really good for once to like, phew, all right. So people do like this and get what this is.
You are talented, some would say. You have abilities and skills. And that makes me really happy. I'm really sorry I wasn't able to go.
That's right.
I have been so bogged down with work that I haven't even like looked at part of my email. And then like on Friday I looked at it and I saw like the prior invite and I was like, shit.
No, it's totally fine. I've also just been to the movies finally. Like I'm kind of coming out of this terrible summer that I've had. And so, well, first of all, I have to say I started watching Alien Earth, the new Alien show.
Started watching that.
It's very good.
Dude, my therapist asked me if I was watching that.
I know that you don't really like Alien that much. It feels pretty close to the original Alien movie, which is the one that I think is the best. It's really good so far. 2 episodes in, really loving it.
I will say, if there's anyone that I trust to adapt a film into a successful TV show, it's Noah Hawley.
He's doing a good job so far.
He's done a really good job with Fargo. Legion was also really good. Though, ironically, the one movie he directed is famously very bad.
What movie is that?
Lucy in the Sky with Natalie Portman and John Hamm.
Right.
People hate that movie.
I have vague memories of that coming out. I never saw it. But what I wanted to talk about was I'm late seeing this, but I finally went and saw the movie Together, the Alison Brie, Dave Franco movie.
Oh, yeah.
I really wanted to see it when the trailers popped. And then of course I had this terrible summer that took me out of the movies for a while. And I really did not care for it very much. I'm sorry to say. I think it. First of all, it kind of is like confused in what it wants to be. Like there's like kind of this push pull. Like it kind of wants to be this like sort of very serious, arty, hereditary kind of horror movie, but then it also wants to be this like funny, gross out body horror, kind of the Substance kind of movie, and it kind of can't decide which one it wants to be. And it's better when it's more like the Substance.
Well, both of those actors like have like such great comedic like timing and backbones that it makes sense that allowing them to lead into that would be very successful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is Dave Franco good? I don't know that he is. He's not good in this movie. And to be honest, it feels like Alison Brie is like doing him
Carrying
a favor.
Yeah. Well, they're married in real
I know.
life, of course.
I know. And I know that she doesn't like horror movies and he loves them. So I'm like, is Alison Brie just doing him a favor?
That makes
I don't
sense.
know.
I mean,
and she's more famous than he is and more successful than he is. So I'm like, I don't know.
Is that like, so? I
think so.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess she's been the lead in more movies and stuff like that. Community was really big for her. She was the lead in Spin Me Round a couple of years ago.
And she's been in like all these prestige things like Mad Men and like.
That's true. She was on Mad Men. She was the lead in Glow. Yeah. I've met her a few times. I saw Oppenheimer with her on accident. Because when I went to go see Oppenheimer, I went at like an 8 a.m. screening at one of the AMCs in Burbank, and I like got on the escalator with a bunch of other people like at 8 a.m. There was like no one else there, and she was like in a group. Like all the people I like just aimlessly got on the escalator with were all like her group, and they all like. She was like, oh, hey, you and you and you. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, fuck. And then, like, ended up, like, walking in and, like, my seat was also, like, with all of them. And I was like, what the fuck? It was very weird. And I had, like, worked with her, like, a year before that, too. I worked on the poster for Spin Me Round. And we did a photo shoot with her. And so I was there on set with her all day, too. And she's super nice and super fun to work with. Great sense of humor, very, very kind. And so, like, she knew me a little bit, so seeing me step off the escalator was kind of like, what?
Where do I know you?
Okay.
From? Yeah.
But she's great, and I love her. I think she's very, very talented.
I'm a huge fan. I love so many things that she's been in. She made this really weird, cool movie called Horse Girl years ago. That no one's seen. It's a Netflix original, but it's super weird and super funny.
Directed by Jeff Baina, who passed away recently. Yeah. Who also directed Spin Me Round and who also directed her in The Little Hours, which is one of my favorite comedies of the last handful of years. And he was married to Aubrey Plaza, and it feels like the three of them were like just running off and making a bunch of very fun,
weird
kind of Duplass-esque indie movies together.
Yeah.
And it feels like Together was supposed to be a Jeff Baina film.
There's been some allegations of plagiarism, and I won't go into this because I don't know the story. Apparently, somebody pitched a very similar movie to Alison Brie and Dave Franco's company years ago, and they passed. And then they came out with this like very similar movie that has some of the same beats and ideas. I don't know how serious those allegations are. I haven't researched it. I'm not a lawyer. That's the allegation. I will say, too, that I was surprised that all of these allegations have been thrown at weapons for homophobia, because I think the homophobia in Together is a lot more shocking to me, and no one's talking about it. I guess because not as many people have seen Together.
I didn't hear about that. That's crazy.
Exactly. And I guess I won't spoil it, but I like with Weapons, when I say, in truth, I didn't think that Weapons was homophobic per se, but I did watch the movie and I thought people are going to think that this is homophobic, and it's certainly not being careful with the gay characters. And I will say, I thought like maybe they're like kind of gently ribbing this gay couple in a way that I didn't have a problem with. I don't think that the filmmakers of Together are homophobic, but I think that sometimes the casting of a minority in the context of the story does something weird, and it requires a little bit more thought. And that's what I would say about Together. And in addition to that, there's one image that is so, first of all, stupid and goofy and laughable, but also actively transphobic that I was like, I can't fucking believe this is in a movie in
Oh.
2025. So
Oh.
I don't know, man. It's not my favorite movie. I did give it 3 stars because on Letterboxd, because I felt like there are some like really fun set pieces of body horror, but in general, it's just like this should be like so much faster and funnier and grosser, and that's like kind of the movie I would have preferred rather than the like A24 Hereditary style movie that
Right.
it's kind of trying to be half the time.
I feel like it's a good, like, I don't know, signal flare of where we're at in the horror space, that we are in that transitionary point where filmmakers like that seem to be like, let's make that, like, art that seem to be like, let's make a horror movie for this star. This guy likes horror movies. Let's go make a horror movie with him. This
Yeah.
is a couple that'll play a couple in a movie. It's like immediate gimmick. You've seen that throughout like history, but it really feels like they're just like trying to check the pulse on the genre and being like, so what are we doing? Are we doing this stuff, or are we doing this stuff? And they're doing it together.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
like
I
feel
also
like
happen to know I happen to know that this was written, the first draft was written in like 2018, 2019, which we're in a very different landscape than we were then. So it feels like they sort of like rechecked in on the pulse of the horror genre and was like, oh, well, now people like these like kind of faster, funnier movies. And so they kind of tried to, I don't know.
yeah. I feel like Barbarian is like very easy to see as like a big switch flip. And then of course that has allowed things like The Substance and oh god, the one that we did recently, Ugly
Weapons.
Stepsister.
Oh, Ugly Stepsister.
And Weapons, obviously, because it's Zach Cregger, but like also Ugly Stepsister, stuff that were like going to be made anyway, but then like benefited from the success of people like being like, no, I like that tone.
Yeah.
It's really moved the genre away, and you can even like, to a degree, like it seems like Ari Aster has even followed, who's like seen as like the progenitor of that, as seems to follow suit, because like Beau is Afraid is also a like, it's a dick monster, fucking whatever, man.
I think
like,
it's safe to say now that Ari Aster isn't in the space anymore.
Oh, not at all.
He's made 2 movies that are not horror movies now, and I don't know if he'll ever make a horror movie again. And it feels like maybe he didn't really want to be a horror filmmaker, and that's just how he got his foot in the door, which is like a very age-old story. Hollywood.
It's, you know, the classic calling card film of like, I did that, now I don't have to. I mean, granted, I mean, famously, John Carpenter wanted to make Westerns.
Yeah.
He made Halloween because it was an idea he had that was cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And then he made his Elvis miniseries, whatever, TV movie. And you can look at all of his other movies and like, you know, Escape from New York, Assault on Precinct, Big Trouble in Little China, and like none of those are horror movies, but they get lumped into the horror like shelves because his name is on them. And he just wanted to make like big bombastic genre movies. And Assault on Precinct, Escape from New York, Escape from LA, and Big Trouble in Little China, their DNA is all Westerns. Yeah. Even like Ghost on Mars, the DNA of that movie is a Western. Like, he clearly wants to make a kind of movie. And Ari Aster just wants to make movies. Yeah. So
I think my sense of Ari Aster is that like Beau is Afraid and Eddington are the kind of movies he is really meant to be making. Like, this is what he always wanted to make, and then like now he gets to.
Beau is Afraid is like rooted in a lot of like the short films that he made as a film student. Beau is Afraid is really him being like, this is what have wanted to do this whole time, and now I can. In a way that is very messy. I haven't seen Eddington yet. I plan on doing it this week.
I'm so curious about it.
It seems like a lot of people just haven't gone. It seems like a lot of people were either burned by Beau is Afraid or like are just exhausted by the kind of like timely nature of the story elements to Eddington, that it seems like some people are just like not checking in.
My sense is that there's a lot of people who, it kind of reminds me of that movie Civil War. There's a lot of people who have read Eddington as like in some way right wing. And
it feels
I doubt that is true. I mean, that wasn't true of Civil War in my view. I think that Civil War is actually very much not a right-wing movie, and then that read is like very stupid and uncharitable. But
Eddington doesn't look remotely right-wing. Eddington looks neoliberal, if anything. It looks like it's a like parody and send-up of conservative conspiracy theories. Like
it's about I think it is about, kind of like Mary Hartman, it's sort of about how the internet has made us all insane.
Yeah.
Like across the political spectrum, which to a certain kind of person on the progressive left is troublesome, because then that suggests that somebody who is a progressive is just as crazy as somebody who's on the right. And I get that.
That's why I'm saying
understand that.
The neoliberalist kind of like view of it.
Yeah.
And I think the middle grounding of that in Civil War of the like, I'm just asking questions here. like kind of thing is super annoying, but I'm gonna give Eddington a little bit more grace before I see it. Granted, that was my issue with like 3 Billboards, which I fucking hated.
I never saw 3 Billboards. I loved Civil War, actually. And to me, the thing that was interesting about Civil War was like, the movie is kind of apolitical. And so he takes politics off the table. He doesn't tell you what kind of president it is, besides it's a fascist. And he doesn't tell you what caused the Civil War, because he actually wants to make a movie about war
photojournalists,
and photojournalism. And so he just takes that whole chunk off the table, and that infuriated some people because they wanted the movie to be moralistic in this very specific way. But even with that, I mean, the movie is about Californians fighting a fascist president. So to do a little scratching at the surface,
right?
Really make that,
I mean, the only reason I didn't see it was because they used AI.
The
fucking posters, and fuck A24 for that shit.
Yeah, that sucks.
Nope. That's the fastest way for me to not watch a goddamn movie. Any hoodly doodly. What have I haven't gone out to the theater this week. I've been so busy. So there's a bunch of new releases that I want to get caught up on that I haven't seen yet. But I've been stuck in my little Drew cave at the house. I'm like glued to this chair. I've done multiple like 2 a.m. nights this week working. But I have a local library that's like walking distance to my house, and I'm using my library card a lot. So a lot of what I've been watching is stuff that's not on streaming and that I'm checking out from the library because either I haven't seen it or I haven't seen it in a long time. And I'm just like tossing stuff up on the TV while I'm working. And I put on a movie that I've heard about for years, and I'm like a fan of a lot of the cast members, and I'm kind of always been like, oh yeah, that's a very 90s like concept for a movie. That's a very like, it comes on TBS at 2 p.m. kind of a movie. I'll give that a shot. And it's a comedy in which I laughed maybe one time and instead left me with severe existential dread.
Oh no.
And it is the 1993 comedy Dave from Ivan Reitman.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Dave?
Yes. I saw it when it came out and then never again.
For listeners that were born after the year 2000, Dave is a comedy from the director of Ghostbusters about what if a guy looked a lot like the president and they hired him to like do events as the president so the president could go fuck his mistress. But then what if the president had a massive coronary event and slipped into a coma mid fucking his mistress? And so this guy had to be brought in to replace the president full time by a megalomaniac fascist chief of staff. But he learns that he can affect change as the president, and he can push his out. He can, make the world a better place for homeless orphans and things like that. And it's Kevin Kline, Sigourney Weaver, and that Ving Rhames, and Charles Grodin, Laura Linney, and then evil Frank Langella, because if you cast Frank Langella in a movie post 1980, he's gonna play the villain.
Of course.
And you know what? For the majority of it, the very like Frank Capra, winsome, like, oh wow, like we can do these things, and like he's just such a, like a happy-go-lucky guy, and like the character of Dave is a lovely human being. He's very charming. He's very like he's very charismatic, and Kevin Kline is the right casting for that, because I immediately buy Kevin Kline as just like, yeah, I get that everyone is going to slowly come around to like this guy. I get it. He's doing the Gary Cooper thing, maybe more successful than Gary Cooper. Very fun. I understand. But the whole hinge of the movie is that the chief of staff is trying to take over office by having this guy pretend to be the president, convincing him to throw the vice president under the bus with a scandal created by the chief of staff, promoting the chief of staff to be vice president, and then murdering the fake president so they can be like, oh, the president did die from his hemorrhage after all. Okay, now the new vice president is the new president, so he can like take over power. And oh my god, was that a stressful B plot. And on top of that, the like the like big scandal that they rope the vice president in, that they find out that the actual president had been involved in, and that this evil chief of staff is involved in, was that they were taking campaign finance bribes. It was a whole big scandal that, oh, they were just taking bribes and flooding the pockets of their campaigns, and it's like, yeah, we did that. That happened, and nothing came of it.
Yeah,
we didn't. I mean, they didn't immediately like. The movie ends with like fucking like radio voiceover being like, oh, and all the bad guys, all the like senators and the chief of staff and stuff like that, they all went to jail. They all got sentenced to X many years in prison, and they're all going away forever. And you're like, no. Frank Langella's the president now. Oh shit. Oh fuck.
I do think about the 90s sometimes, and about how like once a week something happens politically in America that would have been like a year-long controversy, and put 20 people in jail in the 1990s. And it's like, nope, different world. It
was a harrowing watch.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver's great, and as always, come on. There was also a cameo by Arnold Schwarzenegger for no fucking reason as himself. Taking some kids to visit the White House, and you're like, what are we doing?
Was he the governor of California at that time?
Not yet.
Oh, weird.
He was just friends with Ivan Reitman because they'd made Twins and Junior together.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't know, he can show up. I remember when Schwarzenegger got elected, it was the late 90s, early 2000s.
I think so, yeah.
Because I remember being a kid, and my mother would always take us to the local library and like rent us movies that either she grew up on or that she would be like, I don't know, you'll like this, whatever, and slap it on during the summer. And I remember one of the ones that she picked for us was Last Action Hero.
Oh, I love that movie when I was young.
And I was very much too young for it. And my only memories of that entire movie are Tom Noonan with like the facial scars as like the serial killer who murders children.
Yeah.
And then the seventh seal gag at the end, which also as a kid was really scary to me. Yeah. But then I remember midway through the movie, my mom, like, who was the one who chose it and rented it for us, like walking into the room while I was watching it and being like, oh, they just elected him governor.
It's so
like weird. I was watching Last Action Hero when that happened, and it was like, what the fuck?
I know. I thought that was so weird too. I mean, I was young when that happened. I didn't know like there was a history of like Ronald Reagan having. I mean, I didn't know at that time that I probably didn't know that Ronald Reagan had been an actor or governor of California. But I don't know. It just seems so campy, which it is. It's like Sonny Bono being mayor of Palm Springs or wherever he was mayor of. It's like, what?
That rocked.
What are we doing?
That's the fun one. Or Jesse Ventura. But Jesse Ventura was good. But like, I also found out as a child that Ronald Reagan had been an actor from watching Spies Like Us, the Chevy Chase movie.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid. I will say, if you're ever in a mood to watch Ronald Reagan suffer, there's a great 40s melodrama called King's Row,
Uh-huh.
which is a really good movie, and it's basically like, what if we took every like soap opera melodrama concept and conceit and cranked them up to 11 in this Norman Rockwell town,
Oh, that
so
sounds fun. So
everything
like
gets
Peyton
insane.
Place.
Peyton Place before Peyton Place, but like
Yeah.
dialed to high heaven. And there's a running B plot that Ronald Reagan is like the young guy in town. He's like he's not gonna leave town, but he's gonna go far in the town or whatever. And like he has a contentious relationship with the town doctor, who's a drunk, because he thinks the town doctor isn't good because he's a drunk. And he's like, I think you need to be run out of office and replaced by someone that's not an alcoholic. And so when Ronnie Reagan gets into an accident at like a coal mine or something, or maybe like an offshore oil drill or fucking some shit, he's like mildly injured, but he's like knocked out. And they're like, call the town doctor. And the town doctor gets his revenge by amputating his limbs.
Nice.
And they're literally like in the scene being like, I don't think he needs that. I think he's fine. And the town doctor, who is like drunk as hell, being like, no, I need to cut his legs off.
They gotta come off.
In the scene where Ronald Reagan wakes up and realizes he has no limbs is one of the funniest, greatest moments in film history. And what if I told you Ronald Reagan's first memoir is titled after a quote from that scene?
Oh my god.
The big line that he screams is, "Where's the rest of me?" And his first autobiography was called The Rest of Me.
Oh my god.
Which is I hate that fucking man so much. But I love watching him suffer.
I know, the worst. So let's talk about our fun movie of the day.
Speaking of dismemberment.
Yeah, speaking of dismemberment. This is a classic. From 1972, directed by Armando de Osorio. We are talking about Tombs of the Blind Dead. Also sometimes known as Revenge from Planet Ape.
There's no escape from the blind dead. They are the Templars, devil worshippers, a death cult that has risen from their 1,000-year-old tombs to begin a horrible reign of terror.
Please wait!
Ha! Look over there!
Wow. I think the original title is Night of the Blind? La Noche...
La Noche de Terror Ciego, the Night of the Blind Terror.
Yeah.
No, I just mentioned that because I think it's so funny that later, the original American title was something normal, The Blind Dead.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later, after the success of the Planet of the Apes movies, some genius decided to try to re-release this tied to the Planet of the Apes movies. So they like cut out the flashback of the Knights Templars and then added narration at the beginning that said that the knights were just like dead apes.
Which I can kind of get from the look.
Sure. So I just think that's so funny that this was like passed off as like a Planet of the Apes movie.
Wait, Revenge from Planet. I need to find.
And even the off-brand sound of it, like not Revenge from Planet of the Apes, Revenge from Planet Ape. That sounds like it was translated into Chinese and then back into English. You know what I mean? Like it has such a weird, I don't know. It just feels weird.
Oh, wait. I found the original posters and I use the word poster very liberally. This is more like magazine, like newspaper ads, for see apes rise from their graves to destroy man in a battle that survives death. all new, too intense for TV. It's not all new.
No, in fact.
And yeah, it's not on TV because it's a fucking movie. Rated PG. And it was presented as a double bill with the Peter Cushing anthology movie From Beyond the Grave. The poster is a drawing of an ape with the big like moon behind it, and then the like knights, monks, whatever, on their horses kind of riding up front, which makes sense because in Planet of the Apes they also ride horses.
They're on horses. Yeah. Oh, that looks good in a way. Charming, I would say.
Quaint. But wait, the title card for Revenge from Planet Ape that I want to show you because it's so funny.
That is good. That looks like the Hollywood sign, but says Revenge from Planet Ape.
And it's in like a goofy, like almost Comic Sans font.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I want to save all of this and I will post some of it on our Instagram where this comes out because holy shit. Plus second feature, Shadow of the Hawk.
So Asario said that this was inspired by Gustavo Adolfo Becar's Gothic horror novel El Monte de las Animas, which is from the 1800s, and also George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead from 1968. Although he did say that these are not like the zombies from Night of the Living Dead. They're more like mummies and they feed like vampires. He was very like clear about what these were and were not in a kind of a weird way. It's like, sure. Okay, sure, Asario. Whatever you say. They're not zombies. This movie, I guess, in terms of plot, is about two old friends from boarding school who run into each other. One of them is on vacation, and she runs into her old dorm mate from boarding school who now lives in this more rural area because she runs a mannequin factory, which is terrific.
Which is a normal job to have.
Normal job to have. Tables. She does tables.
As she explains in the movie, she's like, "Oh, are you still like in this line of work?" And she says, "No, I make mannequins now." And she says, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, I went to college in Paris. That's where I picked up the trade."
Yeah,
like you don't just
I love it. Anytime you're at the mannequin factory, I'm happy in this movie.
I love the idea of like, I'm out by the Eiffel Tower. I'm eating a baguette and now I know how to make a mannequin? Oh.
So the girl who lives close by is about to go on a train trip with a man that she has a crush on. And the man shows up and invites the other woman, which is shitty. So the first girl, whose name is Virginia, gets mad on the train, literally just jumps off the train. And she's in the middle of nowhere. And all that is nearby is some medieval ruins, which is, of course, where the tombs of the blind dead are. And so that night when she's camping out, listening to jazz and reading a paperback, some zombie...
How do you spend your nights?
Exactly like that, actually. Some zombie knights on horseback come back to life and kill her. And then Betty and Roger, the other two, from their hotel, rent some horses, as you do at the hotel, to retrace her steps, find her at the temple, and then it becomes an investigation about what happens to her. And then, blah, blah, blah. They like figure out that the knights are there and et cetera, et cetera. That's it, right? Like, I mean, it's zombie knights, medieval knights on horseback in an old abandoned temple. It's
really fun and interesting because this movie does something that I feel like I want to say 1971? Yeah, 1971. 71.
Oh.
Maybe the US release was 72, but the Spanish release was 71.
Oh, it says 72 on the Wikipedia. Okay.
The Blue Underground DVD from the box set says 71. Okay. IMDb also says 72, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Who knows?
Is Blue Underground lying to me? I doubt it. It's really interesting because like at the state of like Euro horror cinema in 1971, 1972, I mostly associate both what Spain is putting out along with, under the Franco dictatorship.
Yeah.
And what, France, Germany, and Italy are putting out in terms of like their horror fare. It's kind of taking a cue from Italy and Dario Argento. So there's a lot of the like very Sergio Martino mod, like fast living vacations and like Euro trip kind of stuff. And then murders and slashers and killers and things like that predate the like 80s slasher boom in terms of like structure. But with amped up sex and like, you know, very gooey, trippy blood. This movie fits really snugly in between, in like a very small subset of movies like that from that time, which are like have one foot in the very modern, like jazzy soundtrack, like spending some time at like beaches and resorts, and like people get to be like clothes horses for like crazy styles. And then at the same time, it's doing the kind of like gothic horror at the same time. And I feel like, you know, Night That Evan Came Out the Grave does this. Your Vice is a Locked Key. Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key kind of does this a little bit too. But like and I feel like also Seven Deaths in the Cat's Eye is more like overtly gothic, but it's like bringing vampires into that kind of setting.
Don't Torture a Duckling is kind of like that.
Yeah, where it's a lot more rural focused and is dealing with concepts of witchcraft and things like that. And I really like how, on the one hand, this movie takes a break in the middle to go back to town. And you get time in a mannequin factory with like blood and black lace lighting.
By the way, the explanation for that lighting is so funny. Like, you could just say nothing. There's like a flashing red light. And then the guy is like, what's with this flashing red light? And she's like, oh, there's a neon sign company upstairs and they have to test the lights. And it's like, just let the light be flashing red. You don't have to explain it. You know what I mean? It's so funny.
They do that a few times in this movie where they like do a trope and you're like, ah, cool. And then they're like, why are we doing this? And then they like kind of like offhand it with a line and you're like, you don't need just to lampshade it. You can just fucking do it. Like it's really funny. They also do that. There's a scene in the morgue where they have to like go back to town to see the body of their dead friend and identify her. And the morgue attendant is like, are you ready to see it? And they're like, yes, we're ready to see her. And he whips it off and the camera like rack zooms in and it's like a dead old lady. And they're like, oh my God. And then the police are like, that's not her.
Not the one. Like
no, the young one.
The gleeful look on the like morgue attendant's face is like, you ready? He's like so excited.
It's like a fucking like airplane Naked Gun joke.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, wrong corpse. Like very fun.
I thought of you at the lesbian boarding school flashback, which is great.
First of all, one of the nicest things anyone could ever say to me is I thought of you at the lesbian boarding school flashback. That fills my heart with joy.
Very you. But I was also like, I kept thinking about Franco during this, as I'm always thinking about Franco
Dave?
the dictator.
Oh.
And I was like, I can't believe that they could get away with this during the Franco dictatorship. Like, they have a lesbian flashback and all this gore. And I was like, I'm surprised that this was like acceptable, because this was a hit movie. It spawned 3 sequels. It was a series.
Yeah. And all from the same director. This was extremely successful. I mean, it is worth noting that the US release, Planet Ape or Blind Dead aside, which are identical films just with different titles, they remove a lot of the gore.
Yes.
And they remove the lesbian subplot, which is insane. But you know what they do leave in? The rape.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
There's a big rape scene in this movie that the US release leaves in. However, they do remove the torture flashback.
Yes.
Which, because that's gory as fuck.
It is gory. And then they're just like licking blood off her boobs. I think lesbianism is like kind of key to Bette's character, though, because the reason that she gets raped by a rapist who's a rapist. But
that's the reason
the reason she gets raped. But before that, she's, he's like hitting on her pretty heavily, and she's like, I'm not into men. She tells him point blank. There's like, I just like don't like them. Sorry. And so I don't know, it's just like so key to her character. And without that flashback, it kind of doesn't, it might not make sense to you in 1972 if you're watching this movie.
Well, that's the thing. And on top of that, there's also the whole impetus for Virginia White jumping off the train is that she's like surprised and like a little anxious to see Bet, and as soon as they start talking together, they're like, we don't bring that up. Oh no.
Yeah.
Should we bring that up? I don't know, not in mixed company. And then on the train we get the flashback, which, can I also just say, one of my favorite things, not only in this movie but about the sapphic flashback, is that throughout the flashback they inject like train smoke over it.
Yeah.
To like tie it together. That like
it looks great.
It's a very cheapy movie. There's a lot of cheap things in this movie, and that's not executed as like gorgeously as it potentially could be, but it's a really good idea and it's well done. It makes me so happy to see like attention to detail like that. There's other points in this movie where there's not attention to detail like that. And we'll get to that. But that is really, really, really lovely to me. It makes me really happy.
I love that Virginia. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All that to say is that like it's implied that like, yeah, Virginia's like now with this guy, or is like, you know, starting a relationship with this guy. And when Bet shows back up, it like reignites this potential like sapphic desire inside her. And so seeing Bet be chummy with Roger, and at like Bet's just like gregarious and kind and like outgoing, and that is frequently mistaken as the two of them flirting with each other. And I'm sure like Roger's flirting with her, like outright, frequently. She's never reciprocating. Despite the fact that she's just like amiable. And so it puts Virginia in this weird place of like, I don't know if I want to fuck her or not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know I kind of want to fuck him. And the idea of these two like running off together is a nightmare to me. It's really stressful and it's really sad. And it makes more sense of her jumping off rather than like, a friend's gonna steal my boyfriend. Bye. Like...
I love that. First of all, she asked them to stop the train for her, and then they're like, no. And then she just jumps off. And I love it because it is exactly what I would do in her situation. I'm like, I can be so irrational in a situation like that. And I would do exactly that. I'd be like, I have to get off this train right fucking now. I don't care where I am. I have a sleeping bag and a radio and a paperback. That's all I need.
I was going to ask you, what would you do if you were on a train with like a new lover and an ex and they started flirting?
I would jump off. Jump off.
You wouldn't try for the threesome. You would just say, fuck it.
I mean, I'm a gay man, so the threesome would be easy to get, I think. So I don't know. It just depends on the situation. But for any, I mean, I just am prone to irrational decisions when I'm upset. And I just like, I feel like I would do what Virginia did in a heartbeat and did things like that so much in my 20s when I was upset, or I just like did something in the heat of the moment and then been like, fuck, now I'm stuck at God knows where, or you know what I mean? Like, now how am I going to take myself out of this?
It really feels like a fun, like horror antidote to the like, Before Sunrise setup of like, oh, meeting someone else on the train and like we're in a confined space, so let's like flirt and like see where this goes and stuff like that. I like the idea of like, fuck that, get me out of here.
Yeah. So when Virginia is at these ruins, which are so cool, like what a great place to film a movie.
It basically becomes a silent film. It really feels to me like they found these ruins. And they took an actress out there and they dressed some people up and they just went and shot like a short silent film. And then we're like, that's cool. What can we build around this?
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like that. I mean, you have a setting like this, you want to use it, right? The first night that the dead come back is really great.
It's really scary.
So, I mean, the first time you see them on horseback, I don't think I've ever seen zombies. Sorry, they're zombies on horseback before this. They all are wearing like cloaks. They're kind of like D&D zombies, for lack of a better word. They just look great, and I love the idea of like medieval zombies coming back, which has existed before, of course, but I don't know. I just love the vibe. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
They're so cool. And while watching it last night, so I guess I should say, this is your first time watching it, right?
Kind of not. I mean, I've sort of like seen bits of it. I've put it on and then like cleaned my house and stuff like that. You know, like I've never like sat down and watched it end to end before.
Fair. And also, I guess, I mean, granted, you watched the version on Shudder, which I guess is the new restoration from Synapse.
It looked great. I
have had the old Coffin DVD box set since I was in college. That's all I have. So that's what I watched. So it looked like a Grindhouse print, which is fine. I might be curious to like scrub through the Synapse one on Shudder later today just to see what it looks like. But they do incredible work, so I assume it's stunning. But I saw this in college. I still haven't seen the other three, despite having owned the set for a long time. But I promise I will watch the other three this week. They all have English dubs that don't really differ from the main version, unlike this first one. But all that to say is I saw it in college. I remember liking it a lot. And I remember like the look of them. And I kind of in my head just ascribed this movie as being like basically the movie within a movie from Demons. The Lamberto Baffa movie, which is also like 4 young people that are like take a trip out to some ruins in the middle of nowhere and hang out, and they like open a book and read from the book, Evil Dead style, and then some corpses come up and people get possessed and whatever. And then we don't see the rest of that movie because then it happens in the theater and the projectionist gets eat. But like my memory was mostly that, and so I was like, oh, okay, it's people go out to the ruins and then they have a little spooky time. And so I remember like vividly the look of The Blind Dead, and I was like, that's such a great look. That's so cool. I don't know if it's going to scare me or not. I think I'm just going to be like, that's a cool design. As soon as we got to that first night of Virginia staying there, and we started to get them like rising out of their coffins, and like it's so dimly lit and it's so dark, and they just kind of like slowly emerge from like catechisms in the wall and stuff like that. And it's genuinely unnerving. The little skeleton hands like coming through the door are like kind of goofy and fun at first. And then the way they shoot the scenes of like, you see them coming in from the right side and she's like backed against the left side of the frame. And they're moving very slowly, and you're like, oh, cool, you can just run away from those. That should be fine. And then the camera pulls back a little bit as she keeps moving back to the left, and there's just 5 behind her. Yeah. The great thing about this movie is, like, whenever you think there's more Blind Dead, there's more. Yeah. There's so many. Later on in the film, they all like break into the Abbey and they're like swarming people, and that character finally gets outside, and as soon as she gets outside, there's like 40 more of them. Yeah. It's crazy. I was also worried that like seeing them on horseback was going to be goofy, because like you put some like spooky robes over a horse. Yeah. But the way those films are like undercranked and so they're in slow motion is really fucking eerie. And it gives it the feeling of a dream, and like that kind of idea of like you can run as fast as you can, but it feels like you're going nowhere, and like the thing's coming very slowly, but it's coming at you and it's inevitable. It's really, really scary. I actually properly was extremely unnerved watching this. Yeah. It's that first scene when they come back, especially. So the backstory of these Knights Templar is that in the 14th century, some knights from the, quote, East
tried to uncover the secret of eternal life.
Well, is it that they're? I don't think it's that the knights are from Asia or Russia or whatever. I think it's that they're Spanish knights who then went to fight the Crusades in the East, and these
in
ones,
the East, yeah.
yeah, and then came back from there with this stuff.
Where I'm going is that they
Yeah.
discovered Satan in Egypt somehow.
Yeah.
Where Satan is not, in fact, to be found at any time.
He's just hanging out.
So brought Satan back from Egypt to Spain somehow. Started doing human sacrifices and drinking blood, and they were excommunicated from the church and doomed to live forever.
Which, by the way, can we quickly talk about their ritual sacrifices?
Yeah.
And the rituals that they perform, because
it's so dumb. They just ride on horses in a circle and whip a woman to death and then drink blood off her tits. It's like, open a book, crack a book open. It doesn't take that much to think, or don't even research. Just like think of a ritual. Like you literally just were so lazy that you had them ride in a circle and whip a person. Like
that's the thing.
Light some candles. Like come up with a chant. Like
they have her like tied to an X.
Yeah.
And I will say her performance is great as they're like strapping her down. She's like genuinely trying to run and like breaks away from them a few times. It's really good. But they just they all stand in a circle, and then two of them ride horses in a circle around her with swords occasionally slicing her. And it's like, yeah, from her perspective, that's very scary and very stressful.
Sure.
But also from their perspective, this is just like frat bro behavior. It's mean, like, we ride horses. Horses are fun to us. So let's incorporate horses. In no way is that a ritual. In no way is that like a summoning or anything like that.
I like it because of the exploitation film tropiness of it. But I'm like, give me a Latin chant. Give me some goblets. Give me some ceremonial garb. Give me, you know what I mean? Like, I wish it had that.
You want more.
Felt phoned in.
You want more psychomania. You want more. All the colors of the dark.
I want ritual.
Yeah, you want robes. You want nudity.
These are Catholics, after all. I mean, Satanism is usually just like the inverse of Catholicism, right?
Yeah.
Like a black mass is like some twisted version of a mass.
Yeah.
So, like, give me that.
Yeah, it's like a one-to-one.
Give me the pomp and circumstance.
That's why I'm saying, like, them, like, just running around on horses, like, slicing women with their swords feels like very, like, oh, we got super drunk and let's fuck around vibes rather than like tradition. But additionally, there's a series of like insert shots during that of the knights like looking at each other and like kind of giving each other glances that feels like checking to see if it's okay to like whip it out and jerk off or something like that. It feels like it's not sexual, right? We're just dude. Like it feels very like keep it together, dudes. Keep it together. It's a very funny series of inserts, but like we then get prosthetic inserts as it's going on of like, you know, fake body parts being sliced up and slashed. And,
pretty gruesome,
but also like pretty good effects. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Real great shade of red for the blood.
Yeah.
Real fun.
So Virginia dies and then comes back to life in the morgue and kills the mortician.
Who deserves it?
Who deserves it? But I'm not sure if like everyone comes back to life in this mythology.
It's bizarre.
I don't know if we see it again exactly, which is a debate when we get to like the train later on, if we talk about that. I don't know. There's also like a series of, you know, our two leads get sent to a group of like smugglers. And so they...
Oh, this is really important. And it's so flimsily hung together narratively that I love it. Which is that they, after seeing Virginia's corpse, decide to do some research into the like rumors they've heard about Brathan, And so they go to a scholar who knows about it, and he recites to them the flashback, essentially.
Yeah.
And he's like doddering old man with like a beard and glasses, and he tells him this whole story. And then out of nowhere, someone just says, "I don't buy your stories, old man," and walks out of the shadows, and it's the cop again for no reason.
It's so funny.
And they're like, "What are you doing here?" And his response is just like, he's talking to the old researcher, and he's like, "I know your son, who you haven't seen in 3 years. He lives on a barge not far from there, and he runs a smuggling operation." And it's a Scooby-Doo setup of like, no.
I thought of Scooby-Doo immediately.
The people are like, they're smugglers, and they're dressing up as these knights at night to scare people off and instill fear, so no one looks into their smuggling operation. And it's the most like Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew fucking Scooby-Doo shit ever. And so rather than the police going to investigate, fucking Bet and Roger go.
With the smuggler ringleader and his sort of girlfriend.
Well, they go to confront the smuggler, and the smuggler's like, "We're not doing it," and he's like, "I believe you."
Yeah. And by the way, I have a bone to pick with this movie for having so many hot women and only gross men. Like, the smuggler guy who's supposed to be some kind of stud is like so disgusting. He has an ET body with pit stains. And we're supposed to believe that all of these women are like fawning over him? I don't think so. He's so gross.
He lives in the bottom of a boat that's on dry land. That's like among a series of boats, and he like is the head of a smuggling operation. His name is Pedro. And we meet him mid-fuck. And his girlfriend, who I don't think we ever learn her name.
No, she's not important.
She becomes important, but we never learn her name. As soon as, like, while he's inside of her...
Oh, her name
like,
is Maria. Pedro and Maria.
Okay. How do you solve a problem like her? She's immediately like, "Oh, you're leaving me for another woman. That's why you have to leave." And he's like, "It might be the cops." Like, and so they've got this really weird, like... possessive, paranoid, sexual one-upsmanship going on, which is super bizarre. We should also note that before we even get to this point, that there's a really good set piece with Bet's assistant at the mannequin factory named Nina, who looks like she stepped out of 2008.
Yeah,
she's got a like Hot Topic swoop. And good for her.
She looks like the lead singer of this band called The Sounds from the early 2000s.
She looks like Zooey Deschanel. She looks like the new girl. And she's like from the village, so she knows about the Knights Templar a little bit. I think she's the one that hooks them up with the scholar. And while they're talking with the scholar and the cop tells them that their friend's body is missing and the morgue attendant has been murdered. And from his perspective is, they took her body back because there's something about her body that we don't want to know, and they're trying to instill fear. And he's like, and you should be careful because the morgue is right by your mannequin shop.
Yeah.
And so she's like, cool, I just won't go back. And then calls her assistant Nina and is like, hey, I'm just not going to come back to work for a couple days. So you just stay there and get the orders done, rather than warning her, which is mean.
She does say lock the door, to be fair.
Which she does, but at the most inopportune time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Virginia's walking corpse comes there. And you fully prepared for Nina to just get it. And she survives.
I know, she seems fine. I hope that she thrives. I mean, she burns her to death and everything seems fine.
Yeah, I mean, the mannequin factory probably burned down, but
Perhaps.
Which probably means that the neon sign factory above them burned down too.
Oh no, what a loss. Shame.
But yeah, so good for her. Anyway, so the main core of the film then is the four of them. These two characters that we've just met an hour into the film, are gonna join our two leads out spending the night in the crypt because fuck it.
Yeah, in a normal American movie, that would be the whole movie, right? Like the
Yeah.
four of them spending the night in this crypt. But it's not. It's like the third act of this movie, which is great too. We forgot to mention that all of these zombies are blind because crows pecked out their eyes and lights, so they get you by your sound. And you know, Bet is the last person living, and they hear her heartbeat because she's scared. And the final segment is really good. And like,
yeah,
boy, she runs back to the train, and spoiler alert, they chase her there. She hides in the coal. They get on the train and kill everybody aboard the train.
Everybody.
So when it gets to the station, the passengers get on. We just hear them scream as they discover the dead bodies.
I love the way, with the concept of like, oh, they're the blind dead, so they're like slow moving skeletal corpses that can't see, but they can hear still. So
Yeah.
It's weird how long the movie takes to exploit that concept.
I know.
I feel like any other movie would have been like jumping on that immediately, but I guess because like the characters have to learn the backstory to kind of get that, it waits until then. But it kind of wisely does that because it's makes that set piece different from Virginia's set piece.
Yeah.
And it makes it more tense and more thrilling because we already know what they can do. We already know the danger of them. So now we're like upping the level by giving Bet an advantage. And the sequence where she like, everyone else is quickly just dead. Everyone gets it pretty quickly. And she goes silent, and then the soundtrack loses all sound and then brings her heartbeat on. And then it does these incremental zooms on every heartbeat onto her that are so fucking fun. It's such a cool way of executing that. It should also be noted that there's one shot in the train sequence that was cut out from the US version. Which is we don't see much of them storming the train other than like quick insert shots of them like biting people or just like their cloaks covering people and things like that. But there's one shot that they cut to a lot, which is of a small child like next to a parent. It's pretty tightly on the kid. So you just see like the body of the parent, and then you see the like desecrated, like decaying cloak on the right side of the frame. So you know that the knight is, or monk or whatever is there, and the kid is like looking up between them and then just gets covered in blood.
Yeah,
you never see the kid die. You do see the like, skeletal hand like come down on the kid's face, and so it's kind of implied that they're gonna kill the kid, but they don't show that. But like just simply watching the kid watch their parent get eaten to death and then get covered in their blood.
And presumably they get killed too. I mean, I like to think that kid was killed.
Or more interestingly, they spare the kid and they take the kid back because, as we know, they like virgins. That's their whole thing.
True. Ugh, gross.
But like, the idea of those knights, like skeletal knights, like carrying a child is a really haunting image.
So my question is this: because Virginia's body came back to life, the final moments of this, when the train pulls into the station, the passengers get on, we hear them scream. Is that train full of dead bodies, or is it full of zombies who then eat them?
I think it's full of dead bodies.
Okay.
I think the internal logic of the movie, which is slim, is that Virginia woke up the next night. I think they are only active at night. So I think, 2 or 3 or whatever nights were still left on the train. I think by the time that people get on the train and take a look at it, they're just laying there like corpses themselves.
Yep.
And so I think whatever morgue attendant is working the night shift that night is going to have a rough night.
That'd be a great movie.
That would like that as a bottle film.
Yeah.
Would be fun. But no, I think they're just corpses. The question that remains, though, that I'm slightly more interested in is, what do you think is going to happen to the morgue attendant that got ate? midway through the film. Will he rise, or did Virginia only rise because she was eaten by the knights?
Oh, like does it pass on and on and on?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great question. I guess probably he won't, because then it would be eventually it would be like 28 days later, right? Like everyone.
Yeah.
So I guess
it's
it
not
probably
treated
stops.
as an infection, I think, as much as it's
No,
like
I
a
know.
curse, I think, rather. So I
Yeah.
think you're right. I think he wouldn't rise. I think,
Yeah.
but the people on the train definitely will.
Yeah, exactly. I think this movie is so fun. The vibes are off the hook good, and the aesthetic is so great, and I loved it.
I'm very excited to dig into the rest of the box set and watch the other 3 films. So we probably won't cover those individually, but maybe I'll come on in the next handful of episodes and do Blind Dead report.
Yeah, I would love that. Let's play our favorite game, Have They Seen It, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. You mentioned him earlier, so I thought of him. Do you think Eli Roth has seen this?
Yeah, I'm sure he has.
He probably likes it, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm sure he's a fan of it. I don't give a fuck about him. I hate that man.
I know.
I hope he has a rotting, desecrated corpse time himself.
I was thinking that you could do like such a good remake of this, and I feel like he's one of the people who would want to do a remake of it, and he's one of the people I would want to like keep far away from this.
Yes.
But like, who would do a good remake of this that's in the field?
There's this guy he's made 2 really good short films. One of them is called Spoons, that I feel like would do a really good job of it.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's his name. Conk
That's
something.
me. I don't know how you do this in America, because we don't have anything that's old here.
No, it would have to be. It would have to still be set in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all the like contemporary Euro horror filmmakers I can think of have a bit more of like a humorous stripe to them, but I would kind of like to see the director of Ugly Stepsister do a Tombs of the Blind Dead
She would do
movie.
such a good. Do you know what I just thought of? I actually wrote a movie set in Spain because I was adapting this horror novel, and I got paid to write this movie, but it didn't end up getting made. But it was basically a haunted house movie, but it was set on the Camino de Santiago, which is like
Cool.
a hike that people do, and it's 500 miles across the north of Spain, and so you pass by all of these like medieval Catholic cathedrals. Could easily do, put people on that trail and do this movie.
That's honestly a pretty good idea. Like,
Yeah.
not far from like the Buñuel, like Milky Way, like the religious trek, and like nowadays it's more like spiritual or like even just health trek. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't be bad. And then you could mix in a good bit of characters, because like any kind of tourist coming to visit, like
Canadians, Americans, whatever.
Get a Swede in there. Get Fluleborg in there. Put Fluleborg in a Blind Dead film.
God, he's so funny.
I will also say this movie reminded me a lot of a 30s Mexican horror movie I love, which is a very me sentence. I'm sorry. There's a movie called Phantom of the Monastery. That's really good, and it's literally like some people in Mexico decide to spend the night at an old monastery, and it's like similar kind of like haunted house vibes and shenanigans, ghosts and monks and stuff like that, but it's like old decrepit monastery, so it's got a lot to work with. It's really fucking good. It might be on Criterion Channel. I know Indicator put it out. I think you would love it.
That sounds good.
It's very much the like kind of like Val Lewton version of this. I was thinking about someone that has made a modern film that I feel like is capitalizing on one of the central concepts in this movie, and kind of blew it out to a more big budget version, and that is John Krasinski, director of A Quiet Place. uses a very similar gimmick as this movie.
It does.
Do you think Jim from The Office has seen Tombs of the Blind Dead? By that I mean John Krasinski, not the character.
I like the A Quiet Place movies, I have to say. I think they're fun. No, I think he's like not that cool. I don't think he's seen something like this. I don't even think he's like a horror person. Like, no. I don't think he's like, he didn't grow up in the VHS horror aisle. I'll tell you that. I
feel like in the same way that like Ari Aster made his horror movies and then is like, Eddington's what I want to really be making. I feel like if From the Imagination of John Krasinski is what John Krasinski really wants to be making.
100%.
100%.
100%.
I do feel like if, you know, flashback to like 2015 or whenever John Krasinski was pitching around A Quiet Place, if he told you the setup and if you were like, oh, kind of like Tombs of the Blind Dead, he would be offended.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's 100%. My idea.
Totally. I know someone who went to Brown with him and she was like, he's a total douchebag, and he always was. I think that Spain's golden boy, Pedro Almodovar, has seen this because he's like...
Famously.
You know, he's Pedro.
Yeah.
But do you think Penelope Cruz has seen this?
Oh, interesting.
That's a harder one.
I would definitely say that Javier Bardem has seen this, her husband.
Yeah.
Who's also an Almodovar regular and one of the best actors ever. I could see Penelope having seen this. I don't know to what extent the cultural footprint these movies have in Spain.
Yeah.
So I don't know if these are the kinds of things that play on Spanish television in the 80s and 90s or at Halloween, or if these are like cult objects.
That's hard to say, especially in our the way the world is now. I mean, like, there's a ton of movies. I don't know. This just comes to mind. Dawn of the Dead was like a huge hit in the 1970s. Can't find it anywhere now. Gone.
Exactly.
So it's like, who knows?
Well, and even with the Blind Dead movies, like, you know, Blue Underground put out a box set of them in 2005, and that's cool. And then they went out of print, and then you couldn't get them for years. And then Shout Factory put out the last one.
Yeah.
And then Synapse restored the first one and put that one out. But as far as I know, the middle two still aren't available anymore. So, like, who the fuck? But, like, Penelope Cruz growing up in the 70s and 80s in Spain, I'm sure she may have heard about these, maybe. I don't know how big they were. I mean, clearly it made enough money to make sequels, but also, like, there's plenty of American horror franchises. For instance, like, there's a bunch of Doll Man sequels, right?
Yes.
But I wouldn't...
Puppet Master.
Or Puppet Master. Tons of those. But I would not say that anyone in my extended family has ever heard of Puppet Master, right?
Right.
So I can't say. So I don't know if it's something that, like, she would have had access to growing up and would have just been on cable. I mean, it seems like good, hokey, fun, Scooby-Doo-esque horror time. And if I was programming a television station in Spain in the 1980s, I would be programming it around the holidays.
I mean, it feels like it's the Spanish version of asking, like, has Julia Roberts seen Puppet Master? Which is, like, so funny.
But, or is it more like, because this is pitched as, like, Spain's Night of the Living Dead. Did it have that kind of cultural footprint? I don't know. But, you know, I feel like either she had it on TV growing up, or, you know, potentially it's the kind of thing where, like, in the 90s, as an actress, she's hanging out with Bigas Lunas and stuff like that. Someone's like, oh, we're going to a Tombs of the Blind Dead retrospective. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I definitely can see Almodovar enjoying this, but I can't see Almodovar watching it today, you know?
Yeah.
I think he's at the point in his life where he's like, I only want to watch beautiful things.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think this is beautiful, for the record, in a way.
I agree with you, but I think he's only watching, like, Douglas Sirk movies right now.
Yeah.
I think that's, like, I I
or
think
like
that
in the mood for love or things like that.
yeah, I think that at a certain point and a certain age, people are like, I don't have time for trash anymore. I only want quality. I don't know how many movies I have left to watch in my lifetime. I only want to watch nothing but the best.
Yeah.
There's a great scene in his latest movie, which is about a person dying from cancer and like planning to take a suicide pill at any point. And Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore rent a bunch of movies to like watch together for this weekend, where one of them won't come out of it knowing that. And the movies they rent are like All That Heaven Allows, John Huston's The Dead, Letter to an Unknown Woman, like nothing but these exceptionally like arch and beautiful melodramas. And I'm like, I see you, Pedro. I know what's going on. That's amazing. Well, okay, I have to ask the biggie question. This movie is pitched as Spain's answer to Night of the Living Dead. It came out in 71, 72, so it would have been post Night of the Living Dead, but pre Dawn of the Dead. Do you think George Romero saw Tombs of the Blind Dead?
Yeah.
I have a
think
second question to this too.
Okay. Well, it came out here edited and with a different title. But I think at some point in the 70s he would have seen this.
I mean, I feel like he would have liked it.
Me too.
I
think he would.
He had very good taste, and he was a
he
very
seemed
generous,
like a generous
man.
person.
Yeah. Which brings me to my second question, which is that the second movie is not called Return of the Blind Dead. It's called Return of the Evil Dead, which is fucking annoying. Do you think Sam Raimi has seen any of the Blind Dead films?
I do, but I don't think he had when he made Evil Dead.
Fair. He may have seen Tombs of the Blind Dead, maybe at like a drive-in in Michigan, but
Maybe.
I also don't feel like they're movies he thinks about.
No, they don't. I don't connect them for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think they stick for him. But I could see him seeing Return of the Evil Dead on a marquee and being like,
Oh.
stealing that.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of Bloodhouse. Please rate it 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram or Blue Sky or Letterboxd at Bloodhouse Pod. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. Drusilla, where are you?
You can find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. There's been a lot of new work popping out there, and there's going to be a few things dropping this week, so go take a look at that. I can't say what they are, but there will be at least 2 or 3 things up this week. And you can also follow me on Instagram at sisterhidedesign, or at sisterhide on Instagram, and I'll be posting new work there this week. Very, very, very exciting. I just worked on something with the Criterion Collection. It will be announced, I think, the day this episode comes out. So I'm not going to say what it is, to be careful, but it should be out and should make a lot of people very excited. But the one thing I will say is it has something in common with Tombs of the Blind Dead in that it has a lot of people in full body robes. That is the only thing I will say. So that's super exciting. And you can also follow me on Letterboxd. If you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline, you can follow me over there, and you can follow along with all the stuff I've been renting from the library while I've been working lately, which includes a bunch of Coen Brothers movies, because I've been listening to the new Blank Check series on the Coen Brothers, and I'm really excited to... They just had Zach Kreger on to talk Fargo, so I will be dialing that up, like, immediately this week. But I've been watching, Raising Arizona and Hudsucker Proxy, as if I need an excuse to rewatch Hudsucker Proxy. Anyway.
Do you know that Raising Arizona is the first movie I ever saw in a theater? Have I ever told you that before?
that makes so much sense for you.
6.
I can see your parents being like, oh, it's about baby. It's about a baby. Whatever, we'll take the kid.
I have very clear memories of it, too.
Yeah. It's one of the... I remember my parents showing it to me when I was very young, too, and being like, what in the hell is this?
It's actually a pretty great kids movie.
It's
in a way.
an incredible
It's colorful and fast and funny.
My parents tried to show me a lot of Coen Brothers stuff as a kid. They tried to show me Big Lebowski when I was like 10 also.
Oh, wow.
What about you, Josh? How can people creep into your chambers?
Currently, you can only follow me on Letterboxd at Joshua Conkel. I've gone private on Instagram. I've deactivated Blue Sky because it was making me unhappy. So I'm just taking kind of a step back from social media. But please do follow me on Letterboxd at Joshua Conkel.
And of course, you can follow the show and follow us all there. Very exciting.
Yeah. What are we watching next week?
Next week, we have a very special guest. A very special guest will be joining us on the pod. And she is amazing and has impeccable taste. And she has brought us a very curious and exciting oddity from one of our favorite filmmakers. And I'm so excited that I'm not the one shoving more Italian horror films down our throats. I got a guest to do it. I promise I did not sway her. As always, our guests get to choose their own films. And so we will be reconvening a week from now with Daria Nicolodi and not Dario Argento, but Mario Bava for a case of shock.
Shock. Can't wait. See you then.
Bye.
Bye everyone.